first off, thank you guys for selecting me as one of the people here. I truly appreciate this opportunity. So with that, I'll start. So I'm sure many of you stay in a short-term rental, you know what they are, but what many people don't understand is the burden around short-term rental cleaning management. There's currently 72 million short-term rental checkouts each year in the US, and that number is growing. Each and every single one of those checkouts requires a cleaning. So I'm Carlina, I am the founder of Keepers, and we are reshaping the $11 billion US short-term rental cleaning market. For more than 8 years, I've struggled with the challenges that a short-term rental housekeeping brings. Booking demand's never been my problem, but unreliability and the extensive hours that I've spent for each checkout has been consistently my problem, and that is why Keepers is here today. So I want you to picture and imagine you have a short-term rental. You have an extremely narrow window of time to turn this property over. There's a big old long list of tasks that are involved in this. But now can you imagine that your cleaner doesn't show up? This is happening over and over again for many, many hosts across the industry, about 95%. So after spending hours of finding and negotiating with this cleaner, they just aren't arriving. So what do you do now? You have a choice of, you can scour the internet trying to find a company or a cleaner that can possibly show up in the last minute. You can drop everything. You can clean the property yourself. That is even if you live close enough. Now imagine being a property manager. You have multiple properties on your platform, and this is happening over and over and over again because the nature of the industry means that your scheduling is based on the guest checkout, and you really have limited control over that, which is why 75% of the owners contract with property management companies. And then property management companies cannot grow their portfolio past 5 properties without bringing an additional staff member on, which eats into their revenue. So now I want you to step into a world where you never have to worry about housekeeping again. Every single part, 100% is completely taken care of and removed off of your plate. So now you're free to do whatever you want. Property managers can now grow their revenue base, which is properties. And we're doing this by leveraging the on-demand gig economy. We have a managed marketplace, and then we're utilizing advancements in machine learning AI on our platform. This streamlines the entire short-term rental management process and creates this cleaning standardization so our cleaners show up in job after job. They're guided through the entire process. And since launching in our Alaska market, we've gained about $300,000 in gross transaction volume. We have over $100,000 in net revenue within 10 months. We operate on a commission-based model where cleaners get 65% of the fee. We take 35%. The average cleaning fee is $142. The Alaska market really helped define our key features of our product and our operating model. I knew seasonality would always play effect into this and start falling off in the summertime, but really taking advantage of this to build out our technology, and because we launched with a very limited MVP that got the basic job done of cleaning up properties, but now we have the building blocks of like our entire key features, and that roadmapped all the way out. And during that time, I've secured industry-leading partnerships, which is very key to success because our target customers are housed on their platforms. So we aren't the first company. There's been other companies that have entered this space. They've all approached it with very similar platforms, such as Turno being the #1. They have over 100,000 properties on their platform. They don't create retention, and they pretty much build an Angie's List that's geared towards short-term rentals. Their model still requires hosts to be in 100% complete control and really doesn't save them any time. And we've built a product that delivers a full service model utilizing technology and leveraging AI. So our machine learning powered task management and control quality system, this allows us to launch and scale rapidly into new markets with low management overhead. And the possibilities with this piece can take us, it's endless. So cleaning up after short-term rentals, it's a giant business, and it is growing. So in addition to the model that we can easily expand into real estate assets beyond short-term rentals, creating a TAM in the trillions. So we've identified a ton of verticals already. And in 2023, the short-term rental market was $64 billion. 13% of that was cleaning fees at $8.1 billion. And so for us, every 100 properties generates us $568,000 in gross booking volume. So in the main team consists of myself And then Patrick, who 2015, he graduated from Columbia, and he has extensive knowledge in fast-growing startups. And then we are currently raising $500,000 for pre-seed capital to define our existing platform, to ship out our MVP of our AI, and then to launch in Austin, Texas, and acquire the next 200 properties.
Perfect. Thank you, Carlina. All right, we are going to jump into questions. Let's do first talk, first serve. So first investor who has a question, jump in.
That'd be me. Okay. The competition.
You're breaking up.
How about now? If I keep breaking up, let's just move on to the next one. But if you can hear me, you showed your chart with your competition. That was great. That's come a long way since last time I've seen it. Who else is integrating with Airbnb? I seem to remember last time we talked, it didn't feel like any of your other competitors were already integrated with the platforms.
Yeah, so Airbnb is still limited on the service side of integration. So Turno is integrated with Airbnb. Like I said, we've signed the paperwork. We have to get a little bit bigger to really get integrated with Airbnb, but we have signed the service paperwork with them as like one of the first service companies to do so, which is really good.
All right, next investor, jump in with a question. All right, jump in, Jacqueline.
Hello, Carlina, it's such a joy to see you and to see all your success. I followed you right from the beginning. I'm wondering, what have you learned? There were a lot of expectations early on. What is some big learnings that you've had in the last year?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we've had one of our big learnings is that since we are a service model or operating as one, but always keeping in mind that we are a technology company first and really taking technology to the limits. So one of the key learnings is that in order to reduce operational overhead on the ground, because quality control is one of the biggest factors out there for driving guest reviews, for making guests happy, it is really getting this AI machine learning technology in place so that way that we can scale, guarantee quality control. And so we're building that piece out right now, which is like vital to be able to scale rapidly. And what happened, so I actually have partnered with a university and that their PhD students are building that right now for us. So that way they gain the aspect. But really, I mean, that's it. It is like utilizing technology. It's that a big thing that we've learned is that we have really opened up the door too for these property managers to expand their portfolio pretty rapidly now that they don't have to spend time on the cleaning aspect, which is it's pretty wild, because a good example would be one property management company came on with 9 properties. They now have over 30, and they've been with us for 9 months because they spend no more time on cleaning. And like, it's really a win-win for everybody because every property they bring on, it's a property brought on to us. So it's actually a selling factor. Like we don't have to sell the company anymore because they're bringing the properties on.
Awesome, thank you. I've
What's your customer acquisition cost? Go ahead.
Currently it's 0. So we don't plan on it staying at 0. We plan on increasing that because currently it's just like staff wages. So like building out all of these key features that we need in our tech right now. And then launching into the Austin market that we plan. So we've identified like the next like key markets that really aren't affected by seasonality, but we're also going to now do like a trickle marketing campaign across the nation because our approach is, well, we can go into these large markets. Example, Florida, that's over $1 billion market alone itself, like entering into that market. There's, some odd 400,000 rental properties just in that state. But we're going to do this marketing approach so that we can identify, is it really the big markets that we need to go into like first, or are there other outlier markets that maybe need us even more than that? So I think it's going to answer a lot of questions for us.
Thanks, Carlina. That's 4 minutes plus of questions. Great presentation and great answering questions, and we'll follow up with you with more feedback later. Thanks.
Thank you.
Guess we have sound contracting next.
Yes, we do. I'm going to post the order in the chat here, but Mari, you are welcome to share whenever you are ready.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I didn't get to make the tech meeting, so, hopefully this all works
No
out
worries.
for me. Okay. Can you see that?
I don't
Hello?
see anything yet. I don't see anything yet.
Not yet.
Oh,
Hit share screen and then click in the window.
okay, let me try again.
Yep.
How about now?
Okay, you're gold. Whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start that slideshow.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Mari Parks, and I have been a key employee for Sound Contracting since 2017. We are a general contracting firm that specializes in cold climate building and healthy indoor environments. Part of our 5-year growth strategy includes launching a retail division, which would be doing business as Mountain Materials, and it would be the storefront for upcycled, recycled, and eco vendors, as well as shipping container homes. We have decided to lead this division with our values of people, addressing the national housing crisis, in particular for Anchorage. That is a lack of inventory, a lack of land, and a lack of affordability. As far as the planet goes, our shipping container homes will help to reduce the carbon in the built environment by having a smaller footprint, energy efficient appliances, and reduce the need for a traditional foundation. And lastly, our value of profit is reinventing the mindset. And that means really focusing on the operational efficiency by supporting healthy employees through wellness and their own personal career goals, and providing them an opportunity to do so by branching out into our new division. The solution that we are providing to the housing crisis, if you will, is providing something that it matches millennials' values, who desire to spend their money in a way that makes them feel good. We are affordable for first-time home buyers, and also for individuals that might be at the end of their career and wanting to downsize and perhaps rent out their home for additional income. Our market is, well, in Anchorage in 2023, 51% of the houses were over $5,000. And the gap that's missing of affordable homes is in between 250 and 450,000. Home sales have declined in the Anchorage municipality. However, it is growing in Matsu and the Kenai Peninsula. Well, I'll switch to this, which is profit. And as I posted this, I noticed that I was missing some markings, so we'll go through that briefly. Price per square foot in the first column is $250 per square foot, 300, etc. The 300 is bolded because it is the average cost to build here in the municipality, and the cost of goods sold are in thousands. So basically, at these square footage, we're trying to stick to this cost to construct, or COGS, and this is our profit in thousands, right? And then this would be the margin. Now, these are percentages that need a little bit more due diligence. However, I think you can see that there is potential to have the business make money and an investor as well. Our funding strategy originally was 2 to 4 real estate flips a year, and to use our own retained earnings to get a line of credit or just to eliminate debt as much as possible. But the market changed, and so now our approach has to change as well. And one of those ways that we can do that is by pre-selling the container homes and having the owner pay as we go along. Our next steps are to finalize our 5-year growth plan strategy, identify industry relationships. We have an established customer base, and so that is important to remember, as well as we are an established business since 2013. We have also identified that
Hey,
in-house.
Maury, so I'm sorry, we're at 5 minutes now, but I'm gonna ask the first, is it Maury or Mari?
Mari, like Mario.
Mari, nice to meet you. Thank you for the awesome presentation. I'm going to ask you exactly this, just to tee you up for your next slide here. My question is going to be, how much money are you raising and what do you plan to do with it?
Well, how much money are we raising? I think is about $100,000 to $150,000. And what we're doing about it is I actually have an investor who is willing to put in the labor. So that would take away the labor cost. And we're discussing if he would like to add actual dollars. We're in talks right now. So what we would like to do with it is build a prototype.
Awesome. Of the shipping container home.
Correct.
Cool. Thank you. It'd be cool to have a Alaska-made shipping container home situation. Who other investors?
Hi, Mari. I
If-
have hi. I have a question. I enjoyed your presentation. I have a question. Have you considered possibly partnering with like Alaska Housing Corporation, or have you guys talked to Alaska Housing Corporation? In like a way that you could like fulfill housing through them as well?
Felicia, am I saying it properly?
Yes.
No, because originally when we put this 5-year strategy together, it was to avoid partnerships or any financial ties to anyone else. And the market has changed, and so now we're in a position to perhaps do so. You know, I appreciate the suggestion.
Thank you.
How many square feet are the shipping containers? You mentioned what the cost was on a per square foot basis, but what does that end up being as overall cost?
Well, the shipping containers you can buy a 20-foot or a 40-foot, and it depends on what you're doing. There's the possibility to do a simple guest house like this, which is a 20-foot, and then there is a more in-depth looking connex like this or this. So it depends on the square footage. I'm not sure that I'm answering your question. Can you ask it again?
Oh, I just wanted to get my arms around how much one of these homes cost. You mentioned
Okay.
that all the homes in Anchorage usually are like over $500,000 now, and I know that's true. And then you said what your cost per square foot would be for one of your things, but I was trying to understand what's the overall cost. But I think I could kind of piece that together by looking at these containers.
I have that number for you. The overall cost at the average 300 square foot would be $262,000 for 875 square feet. Typically our cost to construct is around $350 or $400 because we do not focus on the most inexpensive market. It's more mid to luxury. So with those prices at 350, it'd be $306,000. At $400 per square foot, it'd be $350,000.
Roger that. Thank you. I don't think we have time for another question here, so we're going to move on to the next presenter. Thank you so much, Mari. And I know Huckleberry posted it in the
Origin
lineup.
Found, Jen, you are up next. Mari, if you could stop
Lovely.
screen, that would be.
Yes, I was looking for that. Thank you.
You're good. All good.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, you're good.
Amazing. Great. Well, hi, everyone. I'm honored to be here today, and I'm also honored to welcome you to Foraged and Found, where we're revolutionizing food with our innovative kelp-based products. I'm Jen Brown, founder of Foraged and Found, and I'm excited to share a story with you today. In today's fast-paced world, health is a top priority. However, many Americans struggle to get essential nutrients, leading to various health issues. Iodine deficiency in particular can impact cognitive development and thyroid health. Sea vegetables like kelp are uniquely rich in dietary iodine and also offer a trove of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which promote overall health. But their potential is hindered by unappealing flavors, textures, and scents. Foraged and Found presents a delicious solution to a common problem. We've created innovative yet familiar kelp-based foods, including kelp pickles, kelp pasta sauces, and kelp salsas. These products not only address iodine deficiency, but also tantalize taste buds with their delightful flavors and textures. With a consumer-centric approach, we're dedicated to creating products that resonate with you, all while supporting sustainability and protecting our planet. At Foraged and Found, we've crafted a robust revenue model designed for stability and growth. Our primary focus lies in grocery retail, where we've already made a mark with placements in Whole Foods Market, and we're excited to expand into other leading natural enhanced retailers like Sprouts. We're gearing up for future expansion into conventional grocery and club categories. Our strategic distribution partnerships bolster our presence in the natural products industry, and we also drive direct sales through our e-commerce channels on Amazon and Shopify and target independent shops and restaurants with direct B2B sales. Our market opportunity is significant, with a TAM of over $851 billion in the US grocery retail market. Our serviceable available market in the pickles, pasta sauce, and salsa categories totals over $10 billion in available market value. We plan to initially target 0.5% of our SAM with the expectation that our market share will grow as we move into new categories, increase our brand recognition, and expand into new retail channels. At Foraged and Found, we've been busy reshaping the culinary landscape with our innovative kelp-based products. Our pickles have garnered strong interest from grocery buyers because they offer a unique and sustainable twist on a beloved classic. Using them as our hero product, we're building a strong retail presence and brand recognition with consumers. This sets the stage for us to introduce grocery shoppers to our full range of kelp-based offerings, including our pasta sauces and salsas. As we move forward, we're excited to expand our product lines into new categories, using our established products as the foundation. With a nimble supply chain, we're ready to innovate quickly, and our increased production capacity will help us enter high volume, high velocity retail spaces, opening new doors for growth and market penetration. We're also enhancing our e-commerce experience and always innovating new products to meet consumer needs and preferences. Foraged and Found faces competition from established brands in the specialty food and kelp-based product space. However, we maintain a competitive advantage in a few key ways. Unlike national and global kelp brands, we have exclusive access to bullwhip kelp, a superior culinary aquatic plant known for its structure, texture, and mild flavor. This unique ingredient is specific to the Alaska region, and it allows us to create a range of products that stand out for their quality. We can also proudly claim that our kelp is US grown and sourced from the pristine waters of Alaska, where pollution is minimal. This gives us a competitive edge in quality and sustainability that other large brands can't match. While our primary Alaskan competitor has made heavy capital investments in infrastructure such as harvest vessels and production facilities, Foraged and Found has adopted a more agile approach. We rely on a network of suppliers for harvesting and processing, which enables us to swiftly transition to new products without capital expenses. This approach also allows us to pivot to new service providers as our demand grows and to test product market fit for new offerings without heavy overhead. We're seeking a $100,000 convertible note with a valuation cap at $1.5 million, a discount rate at 10%, and an interest rate at 5%. We're asking that the note mature in December of 2026 and convert upon the next qualified equity financing round of at least $500,000. This investment will be used for multiple purposes, which include scaling our production, expanding marketing and sales efforts, growing distribution channels, and more. Foraged and Found is not just a food company, we're a movement, a commitment to health, sustainability, and culinary innovation. With our unique products, dedicated team, and proven traction, we're poised to revolutionize the way people think about sea vegetables. We invite you to join us on this journey as we create a healthier, more sustainable future, one kelp pickle at a time. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Bravo. Thank you, Jen. All right. We'll jump right into our first question. Who would like to ask the first question?
I have many questions, but I've been going first. If someone else has a burning one they want to hop in. Hearing none. Okay. Talk to me about production. Like, what does it take for you to actually make a kelp product? And I'm especially interested in like the pasta sauce. Is this just like mostly regular spaghetti sauce with like a little bit of kelp sprinkled in, or is the kelp the actual base material for it?
So all of our products will have different densities of kelp as an ingredient. The pasta sauce is about 20 to 25% of total weight per unit is going to be the kelp. Now, the reason for that is that we have to be careful with the dosage of kelp. There is such a thing as too much iodine, and that's something that some of the proponents of, being cautious around your sea vegetables have kind of put as a caution. There's also some talk around heavy metals in kelp products. It's very early stage, but the tissue analyses from Alaskan kelp has actually shown lower heavy metal values than kelp sourced from other regions in the US and globally. So there's a lot to be said for the fact that we are
Did I lose Jen, or did you guys all lose me?
I think we lost Jen there.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, well, we won't hold it against her. I think she's actually at a conference.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's take the 2 minutes back then, and we'll follow up with additional questions for Jen afterwards.
We will.
If you can hear us, Jen, thanks for the awesome presentation. This is an exciting product.
All right. So let's make sure this will stop. I'm going to stop Jen sharing for just a moment. And then next we have Super Sketch, Aaron. So you are up next. I'm going to make you co-host. So just give me one moment and we'll get rolling. All right. You are all good whenever you're ready, Aaron.
Hey. All right. Hi, guys. I'm Aaron Cox, and I am the CEO of Super Sketch Corp. And we are an art tech company powering the future of art. Our first piece of technology is a personal art installation for everyone. Why did we create this? Well, 85% of artists don't make a livable wage. The term starving artist is a real thing. And they also do not monetize the periods that they dedicate to creating pieces of art. So we created Super Sketch. It's a live streaming platform built for digital artists and their large followings. It's where viewers can subscribe to a perfect quality live stream of an artist's drawing pad. And as you can see right here in the image, it's an artist drawing on their digital pad, and on the right side it would be like what we see as somebody's dining room, and they're eating dinner and they have a smart display displaying the piece of art. And the goal of our company is to help artists monetize their creative process. It's as simple as that. And our platform, it's really easy. You find your artists, you subscribe to them with your credit card, and then you have access to view them and display them wherever you want. We're powered by proprietary technology, and we are setting a new standard in digital media transmission. Our competitive advantages are pretty straightforward. We are the first art-based streaming platform. We're the first to monetize an artist's creative process. And we are the first to have pixel perfect live image replication, which is extremely important to artists and their collectors. And we're doing all of this at 200 times less data compared to current streaming platforms. This is important because in the long term, we're going to be saving a ton on data storage and also transmission. All of this is viewable on any smart device, and it's a living art installation. Here's our current market. We believe that we are inside the global streaming market, the global art market, and specifically the digital art market. And we believe that our service obtainable market is about $3 billion. And we believe that we're going to be cornering something called the new live art market. We are a subscription model. Artists set the subscription pricing. The minimum is $10 a month. They can charge anything above that though, per subscriber. We take 30% per subscription. So say an artist has 10,000 subscribers, at minimum, that would be $100,000 a month. 30% of that would be $30,000. That would be our monthly revenue. Another cool fact is that at about 1 million subscribers, the actual hosting fees for our technology would be about $40,000 according to our calculations, which would be at 1 million people, that would be $10 million total monthly income. We would get 30% of that, $3 million. Minus the $40,000, we would be at about 98.6% revenue that we could play with for like R&D, for operational costs and everything, marketing. Traction right now. In 2023, we developed some key artist relationships. We created our MVP web app, and our first prototype test that we launched gained $3,200. And it was from 400 subscribers to 1 artist. This year, we are focused on development of our alpha platform and testing and feedback. And then next year, we are going to be more marketing focused, and we're going to be focusing on marketing to really high-end tech artists, collectors, galleries, museums, etc. We are ready for seed funding. I am full-time on SuperSketch, and with funding, our MVP is ready to refine and platform. This is our team. We're comprised of expert developers and fine artists and people that are experienced in the startup ecosystem. That's my company, supersketch.com. Go check it out, scan the QR code. I don't know how much time I have left, but I would like to share our actual website really quick.
Ben, share it.
This is our website right now. You guys can go check it out. It's supersketch.com. Sign in, go to our super canvas, and you guys for free can go check out what we're doing right now. I don't know if you can see my camera, but right now I'm gonna create some lines on this piece of art, and as you can see, it shows up on the actual website. Super
Nice.
simple.
Nice demo, Aaron. That was a good touch at the end there. I want to say before I ask a question, just as a piece of feedback, this is the 3rd time that I've watched you pitch in 2 weeks, and it gets better and better and better every time. You've improved a lot, and I love where this is going. So I'll say that having some familiarity with your business and your presentation now, you know, the question that I'm asking myself is how quickly are you going to be able to onboard artists and their existing audiences? We'll definitely, you know, have more questions about that next week and in the time between now and then. But maybe if you could just say, in your trial that you did where you made 3,200 off of 400 subscribers, where did those subscribers come from for that artist? Like, was that their Instagram following? How did they get them onboarded for this and get them to pay?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question. How does it work to onboard an artist? It's actually very straightforward. Our drawing tool is extremely similar to Photoshop and Procreate. Every artist that we've given access to this tool, they just take to it like, you know, like a fish to water. Where do the subscribers come from? Well, that's pretty easy. All these like full-time artists that we're onboarding, they already have massive communities that they're selling to. We're targeting artists right now that sell their art, not working for like a design company or anything like that, but sell their art to live, like they're full-time using their art to live. So yeah, those people, they're excellent at marketing, and that's where all the subscribers came from, was from social media, from Twitter, from Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, we've actually generated we've generated something around $28,000 so far, just in revenue from the different artists that we've brought onto the platform.
Hey,
All right, next investor, jump in.
I have a question. So just to be clear, is this just for digital artists, or is there a space for like other types of artists, like painters and maybe pottery makers?
Yeah, I don't think pottery makers, but for painters, what we're actually doing is we are working using large language models and machine learning to capture a video feed, just like how you're looking at me right now. And say an artist is doing an oil painting, and we are actually capturing just the canvas that they're painting on, erasing the artist and their tools, and updating it, or actually translating it into a digital so that we can display it onto the actual, like, our digital super canvas. So physical oil painting translated into a digital canvas. We're actually working on that, and it's actually pretty dope, to be honest. Something we're really excited about.
Awesome, thank you.
Also, I want to add that artists are really excited about it too. Traditional artists, they don't really have methods to sell their art digitally or like really monetize it. They have to go through like normal methods of like gallery or like, or if they're lucky, auctions. So yeah, they're pretty excited about this.
We probably have time for one more investor question if another investor has one.
Yeah, so I saw that you put Web3 on your slides. I'm gonna ask a dumb question, and I expect a highly technical response, but how? How are you going to Web3 this?
That's actually another great question. Well, initially we were a Web3 art installation for yours truly. I'm actually an artist, and I'm also a developer. And this was all actually done through, instead of using like Stripe for a payment system, we were doing an NFT ticketing system. And our team member, let me actually share this screen. Our team member is Zach Denham. He actually owns a company called juicelabs.io. And with him comes this insane Web3 API that we can literally just turn on. And like, if you want click to NFT, like click to mint, we actually already have that all built out. I wanted to remove all the Web3 and NFT from our platform just to test if people like the base technology first. And also we realized, or we noticed that people buying crypto, getting a wallet, then using that wallet to buy an NFT ticket, and then using that NFT ticket to sign into our platform was convoluted, and really only like technical people were able to do it. And we're trying to like be able to adopt for the masses. So like even like today, I could turn on where I could click to mint the image that you're looking at right now.
Okay, guys, we got to move on now. Thanks for the great presentation, Aaron. That was a really good job.
Thank you, guys.
And I love your deck.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. I got you. Don't worry, I'm on top of this one. So up next, I'm gonna do an awkward thing for just a second. But do we have that dog lady, Cody, in the room? 5 seconds to respond because I don't see you. Okay, cool. All right. So since she's not here, let's go ahead and move on to Finn LLC. Finn, I'm going to make you a co-host in just a moment, and then you should be able to take it away.
Can you guys hear me on the mic?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, let's see, start screen sharing. So, can you guys see my screen?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, I gotta hit share. Are we live? Okay.
Good. You're good to go.
Right on. Well, I'm nervous and excited to share this. This is the first group of people outside my family that I've really showing this to. So welcome. I'm excited to introduce you to Finn. Our goal here is to redefine the gear storage industry. Today, I'm going to be talking about boxes. and nothing fancy, just literally boxes. And on screen, I have examples of like the most common gearboxes used in the outdoor recreation industry. And we've got cases on one side, totes on the other. The really only different defining feature between the two are cases have a hinge lid, totes, the lid totally comes off. And that's a very inherent, there's a lot of inherent benefits that come with a removable lid. And that's going to come into play on the next slide. Cases over time have really, you've got low cost options and really nice high end premium options. For some reason, the tote option has just really been stuck in low cost options. There's no premium totes. And in my opinion, if there's a premium tote, that can do everything a case can do plus more. And it's just a massive opportunity. And that would make premium cases obsolete to me. And so I want to introduce you to our tote. It's our play on utility tote. This is a premium tote that fills that void that I feel is just glaring. And it has the most external user-driven functionalities out of anything on the market compared to what's on there right now. And when I say stuff like that, it means we can lash it down and still access your contents on the inside. You can either like bolt it down, strap it down, and you're still able to open the thing and grab your stuff versus needing to run a strap over it. And then there's also we have the most options for carrying it. 4 different handles. You can put soft handles on there. You have the option to do shoulder straps, backpack straps. And so for a first pass design, I personally have been super excited being able to use all these, the functionalities of my box. We're also in the top percentile when it comes to a volume per dollar market in the premium market. And so consumers are getting the best bang for their buck. Which is pretty cool, and they're made in the USA. Our target market is obviously outdoor recreation. It's a very broad and large market. In 2021, outdoor recreation accounted for 1.8% of the total GDP in the US. That really surprised me when I heard that number. And looking at trying to focus a little bit more on cases and protection industry, Pelican products, they're the standard for making bomb-proof cases. And in 2023, their revenue was $450 million. And so I feel like that just shows like, man, there's a massive prize out there. And I mean, even if you're to do like 1% of what Pelican did, that's like $4.5 million. So that's just showing to me is like, oh man, there's definitely some potential here to make this into a thing. Our product is not seasonally driven, which is huge. A lot of things in the outdoor retail market are going to be winter products, summer products. Ours are across all seasons. And there's numerous secondary markets that I didn't even think about, but now people have started approaching me, hearing word of mouth saying, oh, I can totally use this for that. And that's been really exciting, seeing what other folks are interested in using these for and seeing that. And so our business model in what I consider phase 1, direct to consumer, and we're making sales, we plan to make sales through industry trade shows and our online store. I really want to focus on expanding and evolving our product line. And once that's established, then start to go into phase 2, which is focused on growth and accommodate a wholesale division so I can get into third-party retailers. To me, that's key to the long-term vision of the company to grow and be a national brand. So our team is me. I'm a one-man band, lifelong Alaskan, engineer by education and profession. And my main passion is just exploring Alaska every way I can, land, water, snow, air. I'm literally a core user for this product. And since I've got my prototypes last year, I've just been putting them through the ringer, and it's really satisfying to see how they have been excelling. Our timeline. This has been a 3-year endeavor. 2021 was like research, just figure out plastics, look at what's the market, really analyze it. 2022, I officially started. That was really focused on establishing connections in the manufacturing industry. And 2023 was finalize a design and get a prototype going. In 2024, I'm really focused on manufacturing and sales. My primary objectives from the Alaska Conference, Angel Conference, is really to start networking, get into our entrepreneurship ecosystem. Be great to pair up with some business mentorships, mentors, and get some guidance, especially if they have outdoor retail industry. experience or product distribution logistics, and just learn about investment and funding and see what kind of opportunities come about to help me take this from like a hobby small business to what would be, I consider, an industry leader.
Thanks, Ben. That was great. Awesome presentation and an exciting product. Two questions right off the bat. Firstly, do you need something in the neighborhood of $100,000, like what we're giving here, to do your first production run? Or can you afford your first production run and that's more of a marketing thing?
First production run should be done here in like a week. And so,
okay.
Yes. So I don't need that to do the first production run. That would be utilized towards expanding like to different sizes and kind of evolving, kind of try and make the production a little bit, our product line, more robust.
Cool. Thank you. I also noticed that in your go-to-market slide, you didn't have like a Costco or Cabela's or anything on there. It seemed to be like you're more focused on direct to consumer. Is that right? And if so, you know, you must have a strategy for doing some crazy marketing directly to your buyers.
Phase one is definitely direct to consumer, and Costco, all those larger retailers would be phase two down the road. I do have some ideas for marketing. I think being up in Alaska, I mean, I feel all these companies are trying to, in this industry, try and just do what we do regularly up here. And I think we have access to some pretty cool things, and through some of just my personal networking with friends and businesses I have going here, have a decent vision of what I'd want and what I think could be really successful. But I'm also no marketeer, so I could have this grandiose plan in my head and poof, it doesn't actually work. But long-term is, yes, I want to get into retailers, REIs, that kind of thing. I just don't want to, well, that's a hurdle just to even get a volume up that high. I need to grow accordingly and be able to not overcommit ourselves and just, I guess, I don't want to say internally collapse, but promise all this product and then can't deliver it. So
thank you. Another investor could jump in.
Ben, I've a few questions real quick. I know we're about out of time. I was wondering about price per unit, size options. If you guys explored that, you're sticking to one base model, and if you address any brittleness and cold issues, because I use plenty of totes. I bought 40 in the past 2 weeks, and a lot of them do break up here in the extreme cold.
They do.
You got 90 seconds to answer all that.
Okay. Right now I've got what I consider like a medium, 28 by 16 by 16. That's been awesome. I do want to scale down. Scaling up, man, you feel that thing. This one I have right now gets pretty stinking heavy. But yes, future options and sizes is huge to me. That's kind of part of the robust product line. Cold weather durability was really big. So our plastic resin is designed for cold weather, and I've been using them in like 35 below this over like New Year's. We use them for 35 below for over a week, fashion them around, and they stay pliable. They haven't shattered. That's really, to me, one of the bread and butters of this is like they work great in the Arctic region. And so that was one of the main objectives when I started. I'm trying to think of what else you asked, Dave. Sorry.
Price per unit and cost per unit.
Price per unit, premium. So it's going to be something cheaper than Pelican, cheaper than what Yeti offers, but still it's a little under $300 per unit. So, but that's where the dollar per volume, my metric is better than theirs. But it's not going to be like an action packer that's $40. So we're definitely targeting the premium market.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Finn. That's exciting and a great presentation. Considering that was your first pitch ever, I think you did a fabulous job.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Liam.
Who's up next?
All right. We got Walter up next. Walter, whenever you are ready, you're welcome to share your screen.
Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes. Just go ahead and hit that, slideshow button, and you should be good to go.
Gotcha. Okay. Hang on 1 minute. I'm having a problem with my display here. Okay, there we go. I'm Walter Combs. I'm the founder and CEO of the Montes Corporation. We focus on weather data systems and services. I've got about 27 plus years in this business, and so I've taken all my experience. I retired from the FAA, and I've decided that I'm going to continue the work that I started with the weather camera program and carry that on now to commercialize aviation weather and data services. Now, we develop advanced aviation platforms to promote safety and efficiency, and we provide weather observations, security monitoring, and surveillance services that extend beyond the aviation world into many other parts of the world, other industry sectors. Lack of aviation weather is a real problem. Anybody that's involved in aviation understands how the lack of weather observations is really choking aviation to death. It's inefficiencies and fatalities, accidents are the results of this lack of weather. Operator impacts, they fly out, they have to turn around, come home. If they run into weather, they have to fly out. We call it fly out and take a look at many locations. And accidents and fatalities are often a result of that activity. The community impacts, we're not getting people and food into these villages in Alaska. It's a real problem. It drives costs high, and more weather information will allow these operators to make better flight decisions. And of course, future development of aviation is impacted with the lack of weather information. The Montes Weather Observation System provides observations at the let's say at the airport. We send the data through the cloud where it's processed and distributed across several different distribution platforms, mobile apps, websites, and we have an API. I like to call it end-to-end service. Everybody's got 3 of the 5 parts necessary to provide aviation weather. There's only really one competitor that does what we're going to be doing. And so this end-to-end, generate it, process it, distribute it is very important. This camera system is developed, it's my design, over many years of implementing these types of systems. This platform has a 360-degree camera on it, so you can see all the way around. It's got all the weather data that you need for aviation and other transportation decision-making processes. And it has an ADS-B receiver so that operators can track their airplanes across the NAS, wherever their airplanes are at, they can follow them. Our current status right now, I've got one designed, it's installed over at Merrill Field. We're sending the data to the cloud. The data is now being distributed across the beta mobile app. And I've got pre-orders already. I've got operators that want these now, and we've got distributors who want to sell them for us and install and maintain and that nature of thing. Our competitors' comparison typically is the FAA and the National Weather Service as our competitors. Our system costs about $90,000 or less than $90,000, somewhere in that roughly that area, the AWAS, our competitor, is $2.5 million. Installation, we can do an installation in 3 days. The one I showed you on the building was 4 hours. The AWAS system is minimum of 6 days. Typically, they take several weeks to install, which drives that cost up. And then, of course, our operational uptime outstrips anything that the federal government's doing with uptime. So they're roughly in Alaska, they're less than 70%. We're already over 99.9%, and we know that we can actually exceed that. So our market and key users, of course, I've mentioned, the aviation users, but airports, lots of airports across the country, across the nation, and across the world need these type of weather stations that are affordable and high value like this one. This is a scientific instrument. So federal, state, and research organizations from the National Weather Service, FAA, will be buying this system. DOD, and airport managers, universities and other scientific organizations. And then the drone industry is going to benefit immensely with this. We have 4 revenue models that will work simultaneously. We have a data as a service revenue model, hardware sales, your typical traditional hardware sales, mobile app and API subscription revenues, and distributorships and product licensing revenues all working at the same time. So
Hey, Walter, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's 5 minutes. But I'll do you a solid and ask you about this slide, so that just to give you an extra 30 seconds or so to talk about it. Tell me about your market scale.
This is what our market scale is right now, the market size for total revenues. You can see here, a lot of this data I pulled out, it's government, come out of government publications. I split those out for an 8% market share or a 4% market share, but I'm trying to show what the scale of this could be. And we're actually right now seeking seed funding of $850,000 to implement this system. So we've got it in right now in a deployable state, and now we want to deploy. So that's what the dollars will go to. And finally, I've got the 49th state angel fund is going to back us up. They're going to actually match $400,000 up to $400,000 of investments. So other investors that want to put in the 49 SAF will match up to $400,000. So that's my presentation.
Thanks very much.
You bet.
So I feel like I saw a solicitation from the FAA come out here like maybe 2 years ago or something, buying weather stations for remote airports. Mm-hmm. And I got the sense that the state of the art was like in the $25,000 a unit range or something. Did I see in your slide deck earlier here? Do I have that wrong? And that this is like $1 million product you're displacing?
This is a what?
Is this $1 million product you're displacing? If you go back to your slide where you had the incumbent, yeah, there we go, the AWAS.
Yep.
So the AWAS is $2.5 million to do one installation.
Yep. And that's a conservative number right there too, by the way. And working with the state of Alaska DOT, the airports division, I know full well. I used to implement those as well. I was one of the engineers that implemented those AWAS systems. They do run $2.5+ million.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's our competition.
Other investors got questions, or should I keep going? I'm sure other investors must have questions.
Yeah, I guess just one quick question for you. At the overall cost of $90,000 versus $2.5 million, I mean, $90,000 is still out of the reach of a consumer, right? It's not a home user, it's a business. Are you leaving revenues on the table by pricing down so aggressively when it looks like you're going to be doing primarily business to business sales?
Well, yeah, that's a tough thing. The competition right there is the AWAS really is, it's so overpriced that the average operator and airport manager, there's no way they can afford that. That just doesn't fit their budget. This system was designed specifically to meet most budgets with business to business type operations. In other words, municipalities and states that need to establish weather at their airports and observations at their airports have a budget that will not support a $2.5 million implementation. That is precisely why there's only 3% of the national airspace that's covered with weather information right now, this type of weather information. The federal government can only afford to serve 3% of the national airspace. And that's the federal government's numbers. I'm not making that up. That's what they say. And so bringing this thing down into an affordable price range will allow the implementation of thousands, tens of thousands, millions of these, to support the expansion of aviation operations, especially with UAS and UAM, the drone industry for cargo and passengers. We like to call it UAM, the flying phone booth. But basically, this system can be installed, 20 or 30 of them in a city to support the necessary weather data to support aviation operations for cargo, home-to-home delivery with drones, that nature of things. So we're not leaving money on the table. We're making it affordable and right at the affordable line where it can be expanded in large numbers instead of 1 or 5 a year.
Okay, so thanks for the great presentation, Walter, and for the detailed answers to the questions. I appreciate it. And congrats on a super cool product. Who's up next?
All right, so up next we have Tundra Electronics. So that will be, let me make you a co-host and then we'll go from there. All right, Richard, all yours. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Rogers. I'm a third-generation Alaskan. Grew up in the oil fields here, worked in the oil fields all over Alaska. I am the founder and owner of Tundra Electronics Incorporated. We own patented heating systems to allow electronic devices to operate at optimal range in cold weather. The problem and the opportunity, we know that batteries die in cold weather, causing our electronics to shut down. You can't complete your tasks, you don't have communication. Alone or combined, these become safety issues, very serious safety issues. The opportunity, build some heated cases, build a heated device for these electronics. The solution is Tundra has done that. We have done some research. We received a patent on a heating system. We can specifically custom build pretty much any electronic device we use on a daily basis. Phones, cameras, laptops, survey equipment. The picture there is what we did for the paratroopers at J-Bear, drawing of a heated SATCOM radio. This is what our revenue should look like over the next year. We are in contract negotiations with Zebra right now, or Alaska Airlines, excuse me, to cover the Zebra scanners. So they have agreed to pay $5.99 per scanner. It costs us about $2.55 per. The United States Air Force will contract with them to make heated phone cases for communication devices. Costs about $1,000 each. We're on about $370 to build. We do have this private survey company that is an actual sale for iPad. They use them on iPads while they do surveying in remote areas. Well, we did build a prototype for the paratroopers, and we're negotiating a micro purchase, which would be 10 for $1,000 each. And then we just got in touch with Alaska Commercial for a pallet heated blankets to protect groceries and food. Again, these are all in negotiations, but this looks like it could be our revenue for the next year. The market size we're looking at, we know there's 369 million people in the United States and Canada. 120 million of those live in cold climates. So there's 120 million snow machines, sleds registered in America. They sell 130 a year. There's 14 million active skiers, 7 million active snowboarders in America. Market also includes oil field workers, gas, mail delivery services, FedEx, UPS, police, rescue, all in cold, as well as we have 25,000 soldiers here in Alaska. The first year we'd be looking to get out about 20 to 30,000 units of our product to different places, airlines, military. Second year, get it up to 100. Third year, up to 5. Research shows that heated coats just in America make 265 million every year. So that's the target market. Those are the people we're really trying to get. The traction, the validation we've got from this is the military is interested. The 5th Gen Fighter Group has sent us a letter of support to get funding, not only through SBIR, but we also have some government contractors working with us. Alaska Airlines, we were able to deliver them 2 heated scanners that are somewhere in Alaska now being tested. Arctic Explorers, we've had people from the United Kingdom, Antarctica, Royal Marines, Antarctic Fire Angels, people going to the South Pole, all interested in our heating systems for their explorations. And then Alaska Commercial is the heated blankets for food service that goes out to rural areas, trying to save the groceries that get froze or thawed out. There's a little bit of competition. Fuzi, who was actually on Shark Tank a couple years ago. Fuzi is basically a sock with a closure. Put your device inside of it. You can't use your device while you have it on. Salt Case is also, they use some NASA material that reflects sunlight, so you could leave your device out in the sun and it wouldn't overheat. Puffer is just a really cute down jacket for your phone. Gobi Heat now is a serious contender in the market, but they don't really do anything for electronics. They're mostly socks, hats, coats, blankets, seats, some custom accessories. And then Venture Heat is pretty cool. They actually focus on underwater heat, people doing underwater, and then they do a lot of accessories, first layer gear that's heated. We're looking for 100,000. We give a safe document, 3% ownership. With that money, over the rest of the year, we would hire market and admin people to help me, as I'm the only employee. Expand our shop, battery heater PCBs. We would get our inventory up so we could start building out all of these contracts for the Air Force. By October, we'd have goods being delivered. And then by November, we'd be working with new clients, solidifying contracts. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. I already talked to you this week, so I'm going to let some of the other investors go first.
Yeah, so one of the things it seems that you've mentioned a couple times in your pitch is that you have a patent on this particular technology. One of the things with patents, right, they can be written very narrowly or they can be written broadly for their IP purposes. Is your patent written to be defensible in court covering the concept? Or is it like if I swap 3 or 4 resistors, I can file a competing patent?
I think ours is very defendable in court. We used a patent attorney who was an electrical engineer and had patents stolen from him. He quit his job, became a patent attorney, and now holds 30 of his own patents. So we did use him. And as far as broad, we were told no twice and went back and eventually achieved what we wanted with him.
So can you talk a little bit more about customer traction, Richard? You mentioned that you've got a couple units out there with Alaska Airlines right now, and you have an LOI from the military. Who do you think buys the first 100 of these?
Right now, I think it's probably going to be the military, just because the person helping us, and because Alaska is the #1 priority on national defense right now. They have a real serious interest in getting our war fighters safe. And this technology is designed to save lives. Alaska Airlines, we should have heard from them this month, but they had a door come off a plane, and I know that they've been a little distracted with that. But that's a real, they were looking at about 150 right out the gate of those.
Okay. And then what about your cost of production? You mentioned that you want to hire some marketing and some admin people, but if I'm reading you right, you're building this yourself right now. Do you have plans to automate some of that?
Yes, we do have, it's called Mid Mountain Material. They're based out of Seattle. They sell all the kinds of fabrics, and then they also have manufacturing set up. I've worked with them in the past in the oil fields. So if we got to a large scale job, yes, we could definitely rely on them.
Jacqueline?
So following on that, I was wondering about your oil field contacts. I would imagine, I've heard lots of stories. I'm sure Liam could tell us more, but about being on the North Slope and, lighting things with lighters under them and things like that. So tell me about your contacts, because that seems like a really good place just because of the lived experience that you have.
Yeah, they use radios, which is a big problem. The radios die. And contacts on the North Slope, it's getting the right people to write the check to buy it. And then you have to deal with making sure it's intrinsically safe. Because like you said, people can't really just light a lighter up there. That could cause an explosion. So a lot of the things have to be encased. But I have two guys that are friends of mine that work on the slope that are pushing their bots for us to build heated holsters for Motorola radios. And then they do use iPads at some of the well houses. I know.
Awesome. I see it as a huge opportunity. Wonderful. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Thanks for the great presentation, Richard. That was awesome. And
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
congratulations on the patent and everything. Looking
All right.
forward to seeing your next steps here. Next up.
All right, Sydney, you are up next.
All right, let me get sharing my screen here. Let's see. Can you see that?
Yep, sure can.
All right. Hi, I'm Sid Wood, the owner of Riverdance Gold Mining, and we are bridging the technology gap between large and small scale gold mines with our Alaska made and Alaska capable Riverdance mini jig. Sluice boxes are the #1 small scale gold mining product tool and have been for centuries, but their efficiency or their effectiveness is directly tied to the size of gold. Modern day sluice boxes have an average recovery rate of 60 to 80% for coarse gold and 30 to 40% for fine gold. They do not separate material by size. You have to stop routinely to clean them out. And when you're done, you have a lot of extra material that's trapped with the gold. So you'll have either to purchase additional equipment or a lot of work to do. So, hit the here, sorry about that. Pictured there is just a general sluice box. There are so many different types of sluice boxes. If you were to walk into Alaska mining and diving and you are new and you're interested in buying one, you would be overwhelmed. There are about 100 different variations of the same product. And like I said, they're the #1 tool, but they all have the same drawbacks. Introducing the Riverdance mini jig. Our product is it averages 95 to 100% recovery for all gold sizes, including the superfine gold that will float right out of a sluice box. They're small, light, incredibly easy to operate, and they're self-cleaning, which means you don't have to stop until you're ready to stop. They weigh about 17 pounds. They process 1/4 of a cubic yard per hour, and they're self-cleaning. So you don't have, I believe I already said that, you don't have to stop until you want to. Not only do they super concentrate gold bearing material, but they also separate it by size, allowing the miner to target the richest fraction, the richest size group. No other gold recovery system in the world can match this machine for throughput, cost, portability, and efficiency. Our business model is direct to customer. We take advantage of the lull in the winter for gold mining and any other kind of outdoor activity that takes place during the warmer summer months for a big manufacturing push. And we also start an aggressive advertising campaign. And then throughout the year, we do in-person demos at trade shows and mining conventions. And we have a lot of good ideas for advertising. Our market, so globally, the mining industry or mining equipment specifically generates $141 billion, and it's growing. By 2030, they expect that to grow 5.2%. In the US alone this year, it's expected to reach $98 billion. Now, tightening that up to a small scale gold mining, market size is, I'll tell you, I failed at that. I was not able to get specific information. But so what I did is I took a sampling of 6 different small scale gold mining manufacturing companies, and I averaged what they make every year, and it's about $7 million. So we're shooting for about 2 to 3% of that. When we're introducing a brand new product that's different than anything else on the market, so it's going to be an uphill battle to prove that it works to folks. And so that's what we're shooting for right now. And then just aggressive aggressive growth every year after that. What we've done, I have been 2 years research and development, developing and testing the product, including lab work in Anchorage and Kenai. And then I launched the website. I started building a mailing list, growing an online presence, doing live demos, including at the Alaska State Fair. That was very lucrative. And then building machines in my garage, and I've been selling them all over the US and even some to Australia, which was pretty exciting. It's going to take consistent messaging with targeted ads and especially testimonials from people to convince them that this new product is going to work and that it's the best option out there. I'm going to go ahead and point out that the Gold Cube is probably the closest to our business. It looks different. It is a single product that they sell with some different variations. So that's similar to what we do. This is the team. I believe we're the best team to bring this to market. I've got a lot of leadership experience, including executive leadership experience. I can answer some questions on that if you'd like after this, but I'd like to say that we're looking for $100,000 for our first big manufacturing push and an aggressive, multifaceted advertising campaign. Thanks.
Slid into home plate there, right under 5 minutes. Nice work, Sydney. So this is interesting. So this thing is 17 pounds and it's 12 volts and it can do a quarter ton an hour or a quarter yard an hour.
Yes.
Okay. So the 12 volt battery that you get, I assume the only reason to make this thing 17 pounds is because you have to carry it somewhere on foot. The 12 volt battery is probably heavier than the thing, right?
Nope. So lithium ion batteries these days, and this is one of the reasons that this is probably one of the reasons it's never been done before. Battery technology has come so far that now a 20 amp hour battery that will run this thing for about 8 hours will only weighs about 5 to 6 pounds. So battery, the jig shot that goes in the trays, the hose, the pump, the machine itself is all under 30 pounds, very transportable.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's cool.
We fit in one of Finn's boxes.
So I think you were being hard on yourself about your market size slide. You mentioned, well, I couldn't figure out how big the market was in Alaska. You actually did exactly what you're supposed to do. When you have imperfect information, I like how you calculated that, and you just added up the revenue of Alaska mining and diving with whoever else. I would challenge you though and say, is that really the size of the market for people who hike into a stream to do this kind of thing? Because I've been to AMDS before. In fact, I've bought a dinghy there, and that people who work at Donlin shop there too. That's not just this really small scale. How many people are really doing the type of thing that would require this?
It's difficult to say. Millions of people watch Gold Rush and Bering Sea Gold and all those shows on the Discovery Channel, and the outdoor recreation market in the US alone was $1.1 trillion last year. It was 2.2% of our gross domestic product. So, it's growing. And with the price of gold as high as it is, and it's still climbing, that the mining activity is related to that directly. So, I don't have a number for it, but it's big.
Cool.
Sydney,
Yes.
it's David. I was wondering what your unit costs were. I was wondering what the cost to maintain and use the machine. I know that you said a battery lasts about 8 hours. I was just wondering if there's any additional inputs, what the user end economics looks like for it.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, the cost of the machine is, the retail cost is $1,523 currently. I'll tell you, it's gone up quite a bit. When I first started building these 2 years ago, it cost me $283 to build it, and it's now $502 to build it. But I can cut that down when I can order in bulk right now I'm doing build to order because I have to, but these machines are very, very easy to maintain. You just put a little grease in the rod end bearings, the batteries. These lithium batteries last 10 times longer than a lead acid battery, and they maintain their charge for the full length of the battery. They charge 4 times as fast. There is no other upkeep or maintenance to it. You just have to, there's 1/4-inch steel balls that sit in the tray. You do have to dry those out, but you can run, I've run the same jig shot for over a year in one of my demo units. There really is no upkeep other than just drying it out after you're done.
Thank you.
Jacqueline?
I'm just, it sounds amazing. So I'm just wondering what your customers are telling you. Like if it's being shipped all the way to Australia, that person must have really wanted this.
Yeah, the folks who are miners are the most interested because they've heard of mineral jigs before, which this picture in front of you is a huge, massive mineral jig plant. That's me in the yellow raincoat up on the top there when I was about 14 years old. So they've heard of it. They know it's more effective and more efficient than sluice boxes, but they've never seen one this small because nobody's ever made them like this before. But the feedback I got, I sold one to the president of Gold Prospectors Association of America down in New Mexico, one of the chapters down there. And he said he got his just a few weeks ago, and he said it's going to make the rest of his system obsolete. He doesn't need any of his other equipment now because he's got this. And that's the type of feedback I'm getting. People are just amazed at how well it works. Anything that can be separated by gravity, it can work on.
That's great. Thank you, Sydney. I had like 1 or 2 more questions I'm going to put in the chat, but let's move on to the next presentation. Thanks so much.
All right, so just a moment. We have Tristan up next with HiveMind Meadery. There we go. All right, Tristan, it is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me.
We were really hoping you'd send us some product before we started the meeting, but
We're working on that. Whoops. Give me 1 second. There we go.
Good to go.
Perfect. Name's Tristan Bellotti. I am founder and CEO of HiveMind Meadery. We're Anchorage's newest meadery, serving up traditional style meads, seasonal favorites, and unique flavors. So the problem that we face starting a meadery was a lot of people have no idea what mead actually is. In fact, most of the time on a phone call, when I say we're a meadery, they ask us what type of meats that we serve. So that tells you kind of the challenge that we're having. And when we go to Brewfest, we get some negative stereotypes. A lot of people's neighbors apparently make meads, and they thought that it wasn't that great. We like to say that we're not your neighbor's mead. A lot of other people have tried major mead brands, and they thought it was awful, or they didn't know the difference between that and just plain wine. Additionally, honey is expensive. Quite magnitudes order of more expensive than hops and grain and grapes even. It's simple to make, but hard to master. And so a lot of beer makers try to make mead and they give it out to their friends and they don't understand why it doesn't taste that great. And because of that, it can take months of aging to have a drinkable flavor. Just because you make it doesn't make it immediately drinkable. Sometimes you have to age it for months to get it to taste right. And we're a niche market because of that. So our solution, we're both salespeople and educators. We can sell our product really well, and we can educate our customers on what mead is and how any other questions that they might have about it. We cut out the unnecessary complexity of major brand mead. So we have no sulfites, no sulfates, no preservatives. We try to make it plain Jane mead. our meads offer a more palatable taste with more distinctive flavors, and so it's a lot of mead manufacturers try to make it unnecessary complex, and sometimes for people who are just getting the mead, that can be jarring to them because they are not used to a complex flavor. So I like to say we have simple flavors. Not that our product is simple, but you can really taste what we're trying to do with each mead. Our average time frame from brew to keg is around 1 month, which is kind of contrary to a lot of other meaderies that can take anywhere between 3, 6 to even a year or two to age their mead to what they think is perfection. We purchase our honey from Costco, and so that allows us to have honey year round at a price that we're going to know, and we can concentrate on our flavors and things like that. We introduced creative packaging. The picture shows our space pouches, which are like adult Capri Suns, and that catches people's eyes and makes you say, "What is this?" And the only problem we have with that is kids really want to get their hands on it because they think it's applesauce. And because of this, we also have disruptive branding and marketing. We don't market ourselves like traditional meadery might or the Alaska themed brewery or winery. We're nerdy, we're sci-fi, and so it really catches people off guard and makes them more intrigued and to see what we have to offer. Our market, I'm not going to bore you with all that, but in Alaska, there are 50 breweries, 4 wineries, 4 meaderies, us including. Alaska Brewing made about $15.5 million a few years ago, and it kind of shows you kind of the market cap that they're bringing in. And most of the other retailers don't really say what they make. But for meaderies globally, 462 million. We're hoping to get a small slice of that with our unique brewing style. Road to the best reviewed meadery in AK. We started our process in 2012 to get the licensing. As you might know, it takes a while to get a liquor license. We opened in July of 2022. Immediately that summer, we were voted fruited favorite in the Summer Brew Fest and it was by popular vote. So it wasn't like a panel of judges voted. It was at this beer festival. We thought your mead was the best mead there. We also placed first place in the state fair. Following year, 2023, we actually won division champion in the state fair and won first in another category. And because we won division champion, we can't win twice. So that's how that works. March of 2024, we started work to move into a new, larger space to handle the demand that's being asked upon us. And to date, we have 311 reviews on Google. All but one of them are 5 stars. And that was all within 2 years. So we're actually, I think, 20 away from beating Double Shovel's reviews on Google. We have sales. Yay. We're direct to consumer.
Tristan, I'm sorry to do it.
Yep, I see you. I'm right over.
But it's 5 minutes. But I'll do the courtesy I did everyone else and ask the first question about this slide so you can at least get through this one. Talk to us about your sales.
Yeah, so we in 2022, just those few months that we were open, for that we made 135,000. The next year, 185,000, and we like to think that just because of our popularity. We started working on pasteurization. We developed non-alcoholic options. We had consistent festival presence, which brought a lot of people in. 2024, we're estimating that we should be bringing in around 215,000. We're working on direct-to-consumer shipping, implementing pasteurization as of the first of the year. And we're about to release a larger pouch, bag in a box, and we should be in the state fair this year.
What's your gross margin as a percentage and as a dollar figure on a single pouch?
So about 80% of it is going to be our gross margin on it, which equates to we sell it for $10. About 8 of that is profit.
Does that include your labor to make it, or are you just backing the materials out?
We are gathering that information now. We got to hire our first brewer, or second brewer this year, and so it's pretty close to that with labor.
Cool. We got 2.5 more minutes for questions if other investors have any.
Yeah, I'll go. Thank you for your presentation. So I would like to ask, what would be the next steps for the meadery? Like, if you were to get the 100K, how would you use that towards your company?
Perfect. Yeah. So our next step is our bag-in-a-box product. We already have the design, and we're getting ready to order our first batch of boxes. With that, we have to get a new bag filler machine, and we have to order, I think, 5,000 units to kind of make it worthwhile. And so that's where we would be investing into, and then a bigger box after that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Is this is this bag in a box thing like boxed wine?
It is 100% boxed wine, but we're going to market it in such a way where we encourage you to get rid of the box, especially if you're going camping or hiking. Don't use up the space. Just pack it in, drink it, pack it out.
Love it. Huckleberry, did you say that there were some questions that were pre-recorded or something that you wanted to go through?
No, I was gonna ask, maybe some investors are being shy because we always have questions and feedback. So one question I can ask right out of the gate is, does the production process allow for DEC regulations to be sold in box stores and restaurants?
Yes.
Right. Good answer.
In fact, that's where we have a few restaurants that would like to use our product. They're just waiting for it to be in a box format, and this way they can slowly put it in before they go for larger kegs of it.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for the awesome presentation. I love that a lot of the entrants in the Angel Conference this year have products that I can actually try. That's one of my favorite things about this event. So great presentation, Tristan. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to trying your product. Who's up next, Huckleberry?
All right, Vienna, you are up next. Jump in. You are go.
Can you see that?
Yep, sure can.
Great, thanks. Hi, I'm Vienna Mott, CEO and co-founder of PoliQuicks. There's 256 million Americans in the US who are of voting age. About half of them are registered to vote, 2/3 actually voted in the last federal election, and a dismal 15% in their local election. Studies have shown that this has to do with a lack of civic education, poor media literacy, and honestly, sometimes you look at a document and you immediately feel a lot of passion about the topic, or you have your own preconceived notions of it. And on top of that, politics can be kind of boring. So our solution is PoliQuicks. We have a bunch of features that we're really excited about, but of those, probably our most exciting is PoliMatch. Our entire app uses our specially trained LLM, but specifically PoliMatch uses this AI method to match people based on their political stances, not their affiliations. So it'll ask about 10 questions, you answer them, and then you can see how aligned you are with each politician based on those issues. We also include policy explanations, quizzes and polls, a game board, candidate and politician information at the local, state, and federal level, and daily news. I'd like to note that this is not news as in what you normally see, on TV. It's more so bill action and things that are actually happening in a factual manner. So although we're a political app, we compare ourselves to the educational market more so. The ed tech market is about $19 billion and it's increasing. Our TAM is really, we consider the 256 million voters, and there are more people approaching that age as well. And since we have connections with high schools, we assume it'll be even larger than just people over 18. And then, about half of that is registered, and that seems to be increasing with the election coming up as well. So our competitors are mostly in the political space, but we wanted to include Duolingo because we do really believe that the ed tech market is more of a fit for us. So we compare ourselves to Duolingo, ActiVote, Ballotpedia, Relevote. And while some of them have really great information, they don't have the complexity of detail, especially at the local level, or an educational aspect that's really engaging for younger voters. On our financial side, we have ourselves starting with a bit of a start and a runway in October after we plan to launch this summer, and then a linear growth in users and revenue, and we'll be cash positive after month 7 with those assumptions. Our revenue is realized through 5 different methods: advertisements, partnerships, merch sales, paywalls, and aggregate data sales. And our marketing to get these customers is through social media, visiting universities and high schools, event attendance, and leveraging our partnerships. And we already have some that are interested in bringing us to their events and letting us present or talking in a panel, some of their podcasts, so lots of different avenues. Our team is comprised of myself, Margaret Sakona, Jason Starkman, and Polybot, which is one of our other favorite parts of our app. And Polybot is there to answer questions and kind of guide you through the app, especially as a beginner. All of us have different backgrounds, more technical than not, but I think our biggest excitement about this space is that we really all came together on the idea that, you know, politics is one of those things that's really hard to talk about, especially when you grow up in a world where, you know, your opinions are kind of shaped for you from your family and your friends. And then as you get older, you're exposed to different things. And sometimes you want to go out there and find new views and try to understand more about those, or maybe you want to grow stronger in your current views. And it's just very, very difficult to find those nonpartisan educational tools. So we're really excited to be the leading front of that. Currently, we're fundraising for a multitude of things, but the reason that we are fundraising is because we are trying to launch sooner than later and to help bolster our marketing. So we're expecting to launch this summer, as I mentioned, ahead of the federal election. And while we expect to really be a big player in the local market and trying to help people figure out who they'll vote for and learn more about their politicians at the local level, we know that this is a great time that the entire nation is engaged in politics. And ahead of the federal election, there's a lot of media hype around it. And with social media, we know that this will be a great time for us. So the earlier we can get out, the better. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Vienna. I appreciate it. So one important thing that I'm just going to ask right off the bat. So just to, I don't know if there's an elephant in the room here or not, but like, can you explain to me that you're an Alaska company? Because we, as an angel conference, we're only able to invest in Alaska companies. It doesn't have to be an Alaska LLC. It can be like it should be a Delaware C Corp, but like a co-founder needs to be an Alaskan or something. That I need to look at what the exact compliance requirements are. But you are considered an Alaska company.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we're not registered in Alaska, we're Delaware. One of the co-founders is a full-time Alaska resident, and I'm 50%.
Got it. Okay, cool. Has anyone on your team launched an app before, especially that has grown to 1 million users in a year?
Yeah, Jason has launched apps before, more of the gaming side, and that's why we wanted to include that gaming aspect, because he has that experience. When we first came up with the idea, we actually didn't have the game board kind of aspect, and then I'm really into Candy Crush, and I knew that he was very involved in game design in the past. The question on 1 million, no, but we have some groups that are working with us that have worked with trying to get people just to register to vote. So while that's a different goal, we really care about people being informed, but they've had success growing to far beyond 1 million in much shorter time.
This is solving an important problem. We're saving this time for questions instead of commentary, but I'm definitely passionate about what you guys are trying to do here, and I've wondered what the right way to do it is before. I wonder how you're gonna get users interested enough. But other investors have questions?
Yes, Dave, I have a question about customer trust. There's been a lot of things that came out recently claiming to be, politically agnostic, just informative. And a lot of those have been receiving a lot of public scrutiny because they were biased. What are you doing to ensure you maintain that non-biased nature to ensure, user trust? I mean, that's going to be key in growing what you're growing. Otherwise, you're just another political organization.
Yeah, no, that's probably our most common question. And I'm assuming you're talking about the ChatGPT leaning left kind of articles. But there's other things that have come out that way. We've especially trained LLM, and we only pull from government databases. So we have on the information we can have, it's hand checked, and also it's coming from things like, this is the bill action, this is the attached bill, this politician was elected in, this is the attached information on that, and none of our opinions in it. Anywhere that the data looks like it might have some kind of bias, we have a note that says, this came from larger AI because we didn't find this information within the database. So, you should go and fact check this yourself.
Now, I've a question. Y'all may have thought about that, and your answer kind of led it to me. Or led me to think about it. Is there going to be a user rating system, kind of like Twitter has now, that kind of, okay, this is what our app put out. We told you need to validate the information. It could be biased. Is that going to be like user generated, user supported, value added right there?
Yeah, I mean, we'll take feedback, but what we're doing with the local politicians to create the only database of accurate candidate information, not just politician, is reaching out to the local politicians and candidates and offering them a chance to review their data that's already taken from what we have, and then have another party review that as well and ensure that that actually lines up with what they believe. But I mean, if they're dishonest, then we also have their voting records, which would, I think, highlight that pretty quickly as well.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Deanna, I really enjoyed your presentation. It's a really interesting app, and I think you did really good presenting. So yeah, I guess my question was back to the local politicians. How would you be partnering with them? How would you get them to sign on?
Yeah, so they're not users on the app necessarily. I mean, they can be, but they don't have preferential treatment, and they don't have any say in what we include or not. So, if they have a voting record that is opposite party line than what they are typically affiliated with, they can't, ask us to remove that. That's their voting history. That is public information. So, we will reach out to them and give them a chance to try to maybe explain that, and we can include that in a note. But we also have things like misconduct, where they're getting their funding from, their stock history and active trading. So things like that, if they want to put a statement in there, to some extent, we will take that, but, we're not letting people change the information.
Okay, thank you.
I think our time's up here, guys. Great presentation, Vienna. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is an exciting product. Who do we have? We're down to the final hour here soon. We've got
Valerie's up next.
All right.
Yeah. Valerie, you are a co-host, so when you're good, okay, you got it. Enjoy.
Okay, got it. All right. I am Valerie Jensen, and I put Alaskan art on useful, beautiful things. My company is Alaskan Accents, and the focus of what I do is I really blast through the production barriers to connect Alaskan creators with the retail and wholesale buyers that they're really looking for. When I started this process a few years ago, I was just trying to figure out, how do we make these things? How do people do this? And the things that I really ran into were these things right here in the middle. Quality control is a huge issue. Not all printers are the same. Shipping, obviously, that's a known issue for Alaska. And the costs associated, a lot of the times there's minimum order quantities that you have to meet. And a lot of time that results in holding inventory, which requires space, which adds cost. Also, a lot of the time creators don't necessarily have the particular business side skill set to focus on marketing and branding, packaging. Sometimes they're not as confident that they hold a place in the market, or they have a full-time job and they have a family and they don't have time to resolve all of these problems and questions and barriers. And on the other side of that, the buyers are actively looking for product and they would love to support local artists, but they have to be able to do that at a price point that will work for them and with products that will move in their store. So the solution was I decided to print everything myself. And I slowly started building my own production company and printing the artwork myself. And that was the best way for me to control the quality, to make sure I was getting good, consistent results every time, and control the cost that way as well, because I know exactly what I'm spending and can say exactly how much it's going to cost to sell it. Clearly, I understand the shipping options available, and I am somewhat unique in that I will go the extra mile. I will be outside the box. I'll take an order to Alaska Air Cargo or put it on a barge, and not a lot of other companies will necessarily do that. And the other part of the solution, I've developed my website for the particular artist that I work for, but I want to expand that to create a larger direct connection for the creators so that they can have direct access to Alaskan buyers. Right now, I am generating revenue. I do the wholesale production, and when I increase the websites to be able to expand to additional artists, there will be other revenue opportunities there with representation, commissions off the sales, membership and hosting fees, and even hosting buyer events, so that we can be a little more targeted with which artists are getting in front of which buyers, and just creates additional opportunities for revenue. When I was thinking about the market, this is a little tough because it's such a huge market, and it's not just in Alaska. But if I want to just focus on the Alaska market, there's over 4,500 retail shops. And in the 22-23 tourism season, they counted 2.7 million visitors. And in their research, they discovered that on average, people are spending $35 a day specifically on retail, and they're spending about 8 days in the state. So 35 times 8, that's where you get this $280 per visit in retail sales times 2.7 million visitors. That's a $756 million market. And if I can capture even just 1% of that market, that's $7.56 million. And that would be dollars that are being spent in the retail shops. Those retail shops are going to be paying me about half of that, because that's the split between a wholesale sale and a retail sale. So the $3.78 million would be revenue to my company. And that, again, another 50% of that is going to be basically cost of goods sold. That's how wholesale pricing works. And so that $1.89 million is the true profit generated by producing these items. I started this journey in 2020, and that's when I bought my first printer and started learning about sublimation and all the different ways that you can print on materials. And I started taking wholesale accounts in 2021. And you can see the revenue has gone up every year, and I've reached more and more of the market. Right now, I'm in over 30 stores across the state with just the one artist that I work with. The competition that's out there right now, they're really, to the best of my knowledge, there is not a production company in the state of Alaska that works directly and specifically with artists. So the competition is more on a national scale. Print on demand companies like Firefly, Printify, Etsy, and even Vistaprint. Technology is not super complicated. It's just putting the technology in the right market and connecting the market with the buyer. Local sublimation shops exist in Alaska. They're primarily sign shops or B2B shops. And artists could, in theory, buy the equipment themselves and produce themselves if they wanted to. But there are so many barriers to being successful with that it's not often that you see them doing that.
Hey, I'm
So-
sorry, I got to do it to you, Valerie. This has been a great presentation, but that's a little over 5 minutes there. But
Okay.
as usual, I'll ask about this slide so I can at least give you the opportunity to finish this one. How much are you raising, and what are you spending on?
I'm raising $100,000. I'm looking for funding to be able to build out my platform, improve my website so that I can add additional creators and artists to that, so that it can be more user-friendly and useful for both the artist and the buyer, and make it a lot easier for them to connect directly. It will also help me secure some additional space and hire some staff.
Thank you. So my next question would be, you didn't have this in your presentation, but I read from your application. Is your print shop in Washington?
It is. So that's one of the ways that I address the shipping, because it basically cuts out half the shipping cost. My goal is to have a site in Alaska, but I feel like I've got to build to get to that point. You have to have a certain amount to make it make sense. A lot of the time shipping, if you're double shipping in Alaska, shipping to a producer and then having that producer ship to a retailer, in many cases that will double or triple the cost of the item. So.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you're saying there's a product that would get shipped from Alaska to the lower 48 to get printed and then shipped back to Alaska to the gift shops? Or is it the other
No,
direction?
so like so my company in Washington State, I can get blank products shipped to me for free. That same product will not ship to Alaska for free. So you would have a giant shipping cost just to ship a blank product and then get printed in Alaska, and then it would get shipped within Alaska to wherever it's going to end up. So having my shop here, there's an advantage to it for now while I'm still building, and there's also a future advantage because it gives Alaskan artists the opportunity to expand and print in the lower 48 too. But the Made in Alaska is a huge thing, particularly for creators. And so if I can get enough artists on my platform and build it to a certain point, then it makes a lot more sense to be producing in Alaska as well.
Right on. Thank you.
And that said, I should also mention, I do have a lot of artists that have asked and approached me to work with them. But at this point, I'm limited by myself and funding to hire someone and some additional space.
So I thought Felicia was going to jump in there because she turned her camera on. But if not, my next question is just sublimation, or do you do screen printing and stuff as well?
I do all of it, including engraving. I'm always looking for new ways to combine and create something that's a little more unique or a little different. And I feel like one of the most under-tapped resources in Alaska is the people and the creators, the creativity that exists up there. And so that's where my passion is just finding out, how do I make this possible to get this into the stores so that everyone can enjoy this, so that people can take that little piece of Alaska home with them and remember this special thing that someone created for them.
I apologize if I missed this. How many artists are you currently working with?
I currently work exclusively with Grace Wolf, and there's my little disclaimer, all the artwork in my presentation is part of her Alaska Life series. So I work exclusively with Grace. She and I met when we were in middle school. I went to Wrangell, she went to Petersburg, and classic rivalry. So we've known each other a long time, and we started out just experimenting and playing, and then realizing that this is a real need in Alaska, and there's a real opportunity here I feel like it's a win-win-win. Like the artists win, the retailers win, and my company can win as well.
Oh. Very good. Thank you.
So wait, just so I'm clear though, we got to move on to the next one, but when you say you work exclusively with Grace Wolf, does that mean you're not allowed to onboard other artists?
Oh no, I'm allowed. It's my company, but thus far I have exclusively worked with her. I've been asked repeatedly. I just don't have the capacity, and I need a platform that will enable me to do that in a very clear way. Right now, the website that I have there's a way to do it, but I would really like to hire someone who is much better at that than I am, to be able to make the website a really clean and crisp, user-friendly platform for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was a
you.
great presentation, and I'm excited about your mission and your business. We're down to Ladderbox now, right? Is this the last one?
Yes, we are. Ross Spencer, you are up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ross Spencer, president of Apex Ladderbox, and I appreciate you being here with me today. So what's the problem that Apex is trying to solve? Well, ladders have been around for thousands of years because there's always been something just outside of our reach. And for thousands of years, the design of the ladder really hasn't changed. That means the same problem has existed and that there's no good place to put your stuff when you're working from a ladder. It leads to extra trips up and down the ladder, which causes worker fatigue and user fatigue. It leads to dropped and broken tools and materials, things that fall off the ladder, which is costly to the job and to the user. And it ends up in injuries from holding too many items at once. The user is not focused on the ladder, but focused on what they're holding, and they fall and hurt themselves. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is the Apex ladder box. The Apex is a patented, with its patented design, the Apex ladder box universally mounts to fiberglass A-frame step ladders in seconds. It provides two working compartments, one for large and bulky items and one for smaller hand tools and hardware. It's got two concavities on the top that help keep cylindrical objects from rolling off. If you think like fluorescent tube lighting in professional buildings when janitors are replacing them. The Apex saves time, energy, and money by decreasing these wasted trips up and down the ladder. And by increasing the safety of the workspace, Apex decreases the fall rate of workers, which saves money in hospital visits, workers' compensation, and lost job time. So how do we take this great product and get it to sell? Well, we intend to sell business to business through wholesalers to get into the retail market space. We would utilize connections we made previously through pitches and trade shows to start gaining initial sales. And then we also plan to sell directly to consumers through a company website. And that's all fine, but what size market can a product like the Apex realistically anticipate? The total addressable market for this product is 130 million users. That includes 15 million skilled trade workers and about 115 million DIYers. Not all skilled trade workers and DIYers own a ladder, so our serviceable addressable market is 78 million ladder owners. And then we believe that at least 1 in 20 projects will benefit from having an Apex on the job. So our serviceable attainable market is 3.9 million ladders. So now the question is, do people want the Apex? And that answer is resoundingly yes, people want this product. We have pitched this at the National Hardware Show, where we were met with incredibly positive feedback and excitement from both the wholesale and retail market, as well as the home market. We also pitched it at the UAA pitch competition, both in 2022 and 2023, where we were met with incredibly similar excitement, but on the local level. So where are we going with this? We're currently looking to secure a manufacturer for the product. At that point, we'd like to attend several more trade shows to make more sales connections. And then for a marketing plan, we intend to utilize social media to start a word of mouth campaign. Skilled trade workers love to talk online and social media, especially through Facebook user groups. Here they share ups and downs of daily jobs. They share recommendations for getting jobs done better and more efficiently, and best tools to use for the job. And that's really where we want to shine, is that word of mouth validation of, hey, I did this job with this product and it was amazing, go get one. So do we have competition in this market space? And that answer is also yes, but that just leads to validation for their product. You'll see in the lower left, Werner, the undisputed king of the ladder market, has got a product called the Werner Utility Bucket. It, however, is too small to adequately be of any help on the ladder. It gets inundated with tools really quickly and is just messy to use. It's also ladder type specific. So if the user has a DeWalt or a Louisville ladder, they're not able to use the Werner Utility Bucket. So anybody who spent good money on a ladder can't use their product. There's also a product called the Ladder Mate by Racketeers, but it mounts to the side of the ladder, lower down and out of reach of where the user could really benefit from it. So we're the first company to successfully solve the problem and universally mount to the ladder manufacturers' products out there. So where does that leave us going? We are seeking $500,000, which is open to negotiation to get the product from prototype to store shelf. You can see below where the money would intend to be used. Once we secure the manufacturer, we plan to attend several more trade shows to keep securing pre-sales and get this product sold. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you for taking the time to meet with me. And again, I'm Ross Spencer with Apex Ladder Box.